Da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyone that's watched the first series of VOTOMS knows what that sound is all about. So this is my last of the B2Five VOTOMS robot. I'm collecting these in a weird order, but this is the very first wave, so it says BV Wave 1 number 1. There's only 2 robots in each wave though, so it is the Scopedog with the main star of the cartoon show, Chirico Cuvie, or Chirico Cuvie. Okay, so I bought this off eBay. And, came in a sturdy box in this plastic bag, and then there's some tape holding this together. But let's take a look at the box. Alright, so a little panel window there. This is the mech number, so it's ATM-09-ST, maybe standard or something. This 1/28 scale, or 2.5 inch, I believe, is what 1/28 is, and it's made by a company called Beaver, which is a funny name for a toy company. Sunrise owns the copyright license for this whole cartoon series, I guess. And then you can see here, this thing can convert down so that guy can get in and out of the cockpit, very much like the actual GIF going on there. And then some moving parts and stuff like that, which we will get into. So, opening this up, nothing else in the box. Let's see here. So there's a little storage box to put like the extra little accessories in. I'll fold that another day. And it's got a nice little B2Five printing on it. And then some instructions telling you how to go about converting it into the crouching down mode. And also there's a little arm punch and spikes in the feet that come down. Alright, and then obviously it moves. So it uses the same types of joint technology found in other B2Five products, mostly the Acid Rain line of figures, which are the same scale. So those Acid Rain characters can actually fit inside this VOTOMS unit, I assume, and then you can also swap out like arms and legs and stuff from the mechs from that series. So nice vacuum form packaging here, and there's a little tape over this guy's gun, and his gun is like a standard Lego diameter. So if you have some Lego toys with accessories, I guess this guy can hold it. This is a little magazine for the rifle. So the rifle itself, you know what, let me move the camera in more so we get some better light here. Let me pop. Alright, so yeah, it's a cartoonish looking gun for a giant robot, but it does look pretty accurate to the actual show. And it's made of a sturdy plastic, these B2Five things, so this just pops in right here. The backside is hollow, save on plastic, I guess, but since you don't see it really, it doesn't really bother me, right? A little silver paint, obviously, on the barrels. Oh, and this is nice. These are actually hollow. Let me get my dental pick, actually. I've noticed all the ladder robots from B2Five, most of the barrels are blanked off. This goes deep. Same with that. So very nice, more realistic. So some paint apps might be helpful. The reason why the handle has this slot here and here is because there's a tab in the hands, so it keeps the gun in the hands better. You'll see. And then this thing actually bends here. It's like a secondary grip. Does this pull out? No, it does not. It seems like a separate piece, but it does not extend or anything like that. I apologize, it cannot focus. Alright, you know what? That GIF is driving me crazy. I gotta shut that window down. Okay, let's put that aside. So I think this is the same Chirico figure I have in my other mech from these guys. Let's see if this is nice and tight. So that's good. It's just like a snap-on. This one also is nice and tight, so it's better than my other Chirico. But you see that little groove, so that keeps the hand in there nice and tight, but it still swivels. And then naturally you can fit this Lego type handle in there. Maybe just push it in like that. No, I'm going to try to force it in through the hole. There we go. So yeah, obviously you can spin that, and then the arm here can bend almost, not quite 90. It's a hinge. Now this is a problem I've noticed on some of the figures, if not all. It's just a half hinge here, so very often it just falls apart. But detail wise, there's a nice paint apps here, you know, the wrist guard here, the yellow pads, got some silver, some dimples in the molding. These little things can move out of the way. I don't know what that would be for, but the belt and this harness stuff, well painted, nice little details here. Okay, so the shoulder here, you'll see the pads can flex up a little bit. So there's no butterfly or anything, but they can rotate, and it's a ball hinge. And then the bicep swivels on that ball hinge, so you can get a lot of articulation. The head itself is just on a ball peg. Yeah. This doesn't have an alternate head. Interesting. My other one does. It has a driver's head option. The eyes actually have pupils. They're not just like stark white, ghostly eyes. So that's nice. And then there's a metal pin for the ab crunch. This one actually goes backwards. The later ones don't actually bend backwards, because most people don't actually bend their back like that. But this thing has amazing ab crunch here. That's the best one I've seen in my figures. Yeah, for sure, that's the best. And then these legs also. This might be the best articulating figure I have of the four, because very often I've noticed in the latter ones, this hip wants to pop out because it's colliding with the plastic up there. So I don't know why they got it right the first time and then wrong on all the other subsequent figures. So the thigh also has a rotary action, and then there's a hinge for the knee, nice knee pad again, and then some sort of ball peg for the foot. Not much articulation here though, it's colliding with the ankle or the boot there. So you can spin it, but not much rocker. And definitely nothing going back and not much forward. Still, you know, I think most people are probably gonna not display this guy because outside of this cockpit, at least that's my intention. Alright, so we'll put that guy away for now. So this guy here, yeah, 1/28. It is deformed though. It's not quite like this image here. This is mahq.net, and it has stats on these things if you're not familiar with the Scopedog. So that's the chassis number, and it tells who makes it. It's supposed to weigh like 6-7 tons, and then it tells a little story about it and stuff. It's basically the most common mech or armored trooper suit in the VOTOMS series, it seems. So looking at this guy, you'll see there's a lot of weird brown, right? But that's intentional. They've molded the swirls of brown. I don't know. See, these are the only toys I've seen that do this. They're literally mixing random pellets of brown as they mold the green. So the swirliness makes it look kind of dirty, right? But it's not paint. It's literally part of the plastic as it was molded. So I don't know. Please leave a comment if you know of any other toys doing this. How they do it consistently nice, that's the mystery for me. They must literally have a machine that counts a certain amount of green pellets, and then every now and then it drops in one brown pellet. And that's the only thing I can imagine. But yeah, it looks weathered even though it's perfectly clean. So it's pretty interesting and somewhat amazing, really, because again, never seen it before. You can see a lot of yellow tampo printing. These are not stickers, they are not decals, this is paint. Printed on pad printed paint. So very nice for durability, and you can weather over them, and they don't have like a weird clear ridge like on decals, and obviously stickers will just fall off. So so that's very nice. Starting with the head, we have these reticles, and they do rotate obviously. The green one's nice because there's a silver detail back there behind the lens. Unfortunately, the red one in this first wave is not transparent, so it's opaque or very milky, so it's kind of lame. It would have been nice if they had more details like this behind the red one. But even like back here on this plate, there's different reticles. And I'll show you later, I've detailed some of my other ones a little bit. So this thing moves also within this slot, and the slot is not visible. It's blanked off like it should be on the cartoon. And this tilts up, and then you'd be able to see the character inside there. and then the head also rotates, and then this little antenna piece, it seems to be with the visor though. It doesn't go independently. Alright, so, well, the cockpit opens, and there's just a hinge there. And then the seat has nice paint details, and then this little control thing, which has paint by the way, it moves forward to allow the figure to get in and out a little easier. So we might as well actually try to fit this guy in here. Spread the legs out a little bit, get those things up high. Start it with the arms high. Oops, see, that's the problem. I don't like that about these hinges. I don't know if there's a better way to do a hinge on something this small. Maybe a metal pin? A smaller metal pin? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, so anyways, that guy's gonna sit in here and probably never come out again. So he can get his hands around those controls, but I'll just leave him with that pistol, or, well, a broken arm in that pistol. So there's a bunch of little greeblies, you know, a bunch of hoses and button details and stuff like that. And then the cockpit should go down over him. Oh, maybe I gotta move that forward. Yep, there we go. Shuts tight, very tight seam. So plastic seams are very nice, very tight. Some recessed details here, so some paint washes might be helpful if you want it to look even more weathered. Okay, going to the shoulder here. This is a separate articulated piece, and it's got this D-ring, because these things very often are helicoptered in on chains or steel lines. So that gets out of the way, and then the shoulder is really well designed. Obviously, it can go pretty high up. But this gray piece, and the fact that it has a different hinge here, can give it extra movement, because watch, these steel pins, which are strong obviously, you can get more reach by doing that. And yet the shoulder, well, that's still a little bit weird looking, right? But when you rotate it up like this, you could have it back like that, or you get that whole bunch of extra reach, which might allow you to actually get around the chest, this big bulky chest. So I think that's pretty smart, very well designed. I like it. You can hear the ratcheting, and this arm will come out at a certain point. I'm pulling on it. There we go. Two tiny slots, and so I guess other B2Five products have this type of joint, and you can pop them in there. So a couple vent details, a separate piece of plastic there, some screws holding it together. That probably takes some other accessories that B2Five has. Okay, so that's back. And so you'll see the weight it's holding. Granted, it's a brand new action figure, but still, that's impressive. It's holding all this weight cantilevered off of this. Obviously, if I shake it, it's might move down, but it's a strong joint, and that's just the arm. So the bicep has a rotary joint here, and then there's a double jointed elbow here. So one bend, further two bends. Alright, armor plate here covering up the hand, nice rivets and stuff, printing, another hole for accessories. This is supposed to be the ejector, because this thing has like a cartridge operated punch, and that's how you simulate it. You just pull it out. There's no spring or anything back there. Okay, so the hand, yeah, you can see that molded dirtiness again. The hand has a nice pin, so strong, and then three kind of fingers, kind of sort of. The thumb doesn't move. The bottom three fingers are one piece, and then the index finger is a separate piece. And now you can see the tab that takes the rifle. So the tab is on both sides, and the rifle will fit both sides of the both hands. Now, I think this is still in the way. Oh, now the actual forearm is in the way. Let me try this way. It's hard to do through my phone screen. Okay, so you can see how it grabs it, and there's just no way that's going to fall out, because besides the fact that this is a pretty tight joint, but I think they anticipate maybe if you move that a lot it loosens up. But right now there's just no way that can fall out. It's physically locked in by that tab. So that's what's cool about it. For ease of posing, I'm gonna leave that out for now. And then also that hand, you'll see there's a joint here right at that part of the palm. That allows it to bend, so when you bend the forearm up like this, you can still have the rifle right up against his shoulder. So again, very smart thinking on B2Five's part. But obviously if it's in this position, it's going to collide with the arm, the shoulder. Alright, same thing on this side, obviously it's identical, just mirrored. Nice rivet marks and all that stuff. There's also some co-molding in this plastic here. You know, with little flecks of dirtiness going on in there and here. The torso, we got a nice thick hand grab here that hopefully wouldn't break if this fell off a shelf. You can hear the clicking of this. I think this spot comes out too at a certain point. I'm pulling. Well, I think on the other ones this comes apart, but I could be mistaken. Well, anyways, again, it's a really tight joint. It's not going to just fall down. And then also, it tilts forward a little bit, just to give it a little extra articulation there. Okay, so now all these side plates, they all articulate to allow the legs to bend in any direction. There's some printing for the copyright here, and it's nice to know that it's from 2019. So in the future, you can buy it and know how old it is. Okay, let's get to that crouch down mode. So first the legs, they're on these hinges, and then there's a thigh cut, right? And then you can see all the steel pins for the joints. That one popped off, but you can just pop it back on. Do it later. Alright, so it's just the normal leg. Let's go over that first. So it's just a double, look, that's a double jointed knee, so it pretty much comes up back upon itself. And then this is actually hinged also, this knee pad with some printing on it. Okay, then this little foot armor here on the front and the back, they're both hinged. And then you can see the hinge here in the foot, very smart. It's hinging here, but also there's a ball joint there. So you can get all sorts of side rocker here. Front, obviously. Back, if you pull it down, and it's basically just a mess load of articulation in this foot. It's great. It comes in and out to give you some extra reach, and then you can cover a lot of it with those armor plates. At the bottom of the foot, you got these spikes that I believe they pivot upon in battle, or maybe grab onto like slopes. This doesn't move. That's supposed to be a drive wheel, so it drives along the ground, screws holding it together. Alright, so now that's the leg articulation. Now we can pull this leg further here. So I'm going to just pull it, and you'll see it actually did get longer. I wonder if it goes further than that. I think that's as far as it goes. So the intention now is to bend this thing back, have this thing upwards, and this little cutout in this knee part is supposed to clear that thing. See, it kind of rests in there, and the foot has that reach, so it can lay down like this. And then there's a tiny landing pad in the bottom here. So I'm going to pull this leg down and apart. Yeah. So the whole thing's exposed. Cook this thing back and up. Hear that clicking. Nice strong joints. Maybe move this knee pad forward. Alright, so that's how he's in landing mode. Granted, it kind of makes sense to have his arms down. Or the robot's arms down. So then, yeah, the cockpit would open, and then Chirico would grab this, and also his foot goes there. That's a footstep, and that's how these guys get in and out of these mechs. So very neat. Alright, let's put this leg back, or both legs back, and see how easy that is. Click that down, and I think I'm just really pushing it together and wiggling it. And that's it. That simple. Oh, maybe that armor got in the way. So push that all tight. Then push those back. So very easy, but very strong, all these joints. I think that's in all the way. There we go. So can almost support its whole weight, just in that ball. But even though it might be top heavy, you find a decent balance point. It's really strong. Strong pose holding ability here out of these guys. Right? Most figures, action figures, would eventually fall down, but I haven't had any of my VOTOMS fall down yet. Granted, I don't really pose them like that because it just looks weird, but I think you could. I think you could. Alright, so you can see here this little hinge, and it's got two little tabs, so I'm going to push it in from the top. These gray things are supposed to be cartridges that are used to, I guess, charge up the arm punch. If I have to guess, which I am guessing there. Please leave a comment if you know. Alright. So yeah, first wave, first robot, it's really good. And it's the best figure, I think, as far as its execution goes. Its design, the elbows is a little to be desired, but it actually fits the cockpit pretty easily. So let me get the other ones. So my first one I got was the Marshy Dog, which is part of Wave 2. And I've gone and now weathered this and detailed it. You can see I put some blue Sharpie and red Sharpie back there. But you'll see the second wave, they have a translucent red. But unfortunately, they didn't put any details back there. It's just a lost opportunity. They could have easily molded something, just like they did there. Like a little X or something. But they skipped it. Anyways, so yeah, here's that example of the wrist again with the weapon in it. So if you want to get some super tight to the arm posing, you know, you could, even with the buttstock. This buttstock, I think, actually would fit that. It looks like it would. Well, you might be curious. I'm sure it will. Yeah. So those look the same, right? So this buttstock can swap over. Although I don't think it happens in the actual cartoon. I've gone and added paint details to these things, if you haven't noticed. A bunch of black, yellow, black in the cartridge opening, some silver Sharpie, some Tamiya paint washes. Yeah, paint washes. So this Marshy Dog has these inflating tanks to help it get through swampy areas. And it's got this gas backpack. But this thing flips up so you can still do the crouch down thing. So this one came with Chirico also, but for some reason it just wasn't as good. Now you will notice the eyes are different though. Let me focus and pull these. Yeah, the hair is a little darker. And well, no, I think the eyes are, maybe just the paint color has changed a little bit. Sorry, I don't have three hands, so I can't hold both. Let me get this thing in a normal standing position. Can't really focus between the two objects. So the problem with this one, the canopy doesn't open as much because it's colliding with that backpack. You don't obviously have that problem when there's no backpack on. Anyways, this one did have an alternate head with, you know, a mask on it, which is what they really do in the cartoon. So maybe this one I'll put the masked head on and then just leave this one as it is. I don't know if they changed the actual figure's molding. I think it's the same. It's just slightly different color on the paint apps. Alright, so those are the two Scopedogs. Let me back out the camera here. Back out as far as we can. The second purchase was this Brutish dog. So this guy has, you know, a machine gun, a Gatling gun for a hand. And these were all blanked off, so I took a drill bit and hand drilled them out. Even the middle, and I put in a little hexagonal metric bolt. I think it looks a lot better. And then I obviously weathered it. Got a little weathering on it, Tamiya washes and all that stuff everywhere. And this one comes with this Fianna figure. And unfortunately, she's the worst figure of the lot. With her hair like this, you know, it collides and forces her forward. She does come with a mast head, though, a pilot's head, which is alright. But, I don't know, if the hip kept on falling off on this one. But the actual mech is pretty sweet. But again, this is from Wave 1, so this is an opaque red here. And I changed the colors here, the detailing of the eyes. I added some paint here and on the back. I think this is a camera or something on the... Anyways, a lot of extra paint apps I put in here. This one has some wheels here. So that one's definitely cool. And then the last one prior to today was this other Wave 2. The snapping turtle, I think it is. And so you see, it's a totally blanked off gun or missile launcher. And what's sad is it's extremely shallow. They could have molded this piece and had these black holes a lot deeper. At least as deep as this, right? So I don't understand the logic, what these guys are thinking when they're doing this. Same with this gun, I had to drill it out. They were shallow, they were just flat right there. So it's a strange thing, because here, these guns are really deep, and that's the way it came. So I don't know why they would have deep machine guns in the chest, but a really lame held gun. I haven't weathered this one too much, but this got some silver Sharpie and stuff on there. I haven't decided if I want to weather it or not more. So I've come to appreciate this cold molded plastic. So they all have this like molded dirtiness in them. Yeah, so. Alright, well, with that said, that is the complete 1/28th VOTOMS series from B2Five. And I would say every one of them is worth having. It just depends. I guess actually the very first one would be the lamest one because it doesn't have a backpack. All the other ones at least have a backpack, and it looks like they have more. You know, this thing's got tanks and a gun. This thing's got a backpack, and it's just a funky design. This is another funky design with a huge backpack and a gun. And these foot things can go up and down. So there's a lot of plastic. The most plastic is in this one, or possibly, no, it's definitely this one. But this is the standard, right? So that might be the one you want to start with. So I don't know what's going to come down the pipeline. I really hope B2Five continues this. I hope they make like the Rabidly dog and the Strike dog, because those are piloted by this character. This is the main enemy, arch enemy for Chirico. It's called Ypsilon, and unfortunately, the design of this, the head very often gets stuck up in that head there, and so it very often comes off. But this is the most nicely detailed figure in the series. Look at the head sculpt on this one. It's very nice. But unfortunately, again, the hips kept on colliding and falling off. And I think the hands might have been loose on one of these, and also the Fianna, so I had to put some poster putty into the joint. Some paint details there, that red. Anywho, there's a lot of other mechs, the diving beetle. There's so many mechs. If you're new to VOTOMS, check out this mahq.net, or just do a search for VOTOMS robots, and eventually that will come up on your Google search. Thanks for watching today. I will see you later in some sort of VOTOMS related stuff. I really like this cartoon now. I watched the whole first series It got a little weird in the end, which often is very common in Japanese animes, I find. But the very first, like, 30 episodes are pretty cool, I thought. Anyways, I guess I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, take care now.